What's up, art fans? My name's Jesse and I'm an artist out of Phoenix, Arizona. And today it is the first official day of summer. And in Phoenix it's 111 degrees and it's only getting hotter. So I figured it was a perfect day to stay indoors and film a new section that I am calling Studio Sessions. So this is going to be a series where basically I'll talk about some of the behind the scenes stuff, what it's like to be an artist, kind of some of the elements that you don't get to see in my other videos. We're going to answer some art topic questions. We're going to ask some questions. I don't really know where this series is going, but I know that we're going to be doing some cool kind of behind the scenes stuff. And if you guys have questions, ask them and I'll make a video. But this is an effort to put out more content on a more consistent basis, and this is how I can do it. So I figured a really good way to start would be talking about my first mural and how I got it. A lot of you have questions about how I get walls or how you can get your first wall, and I always have suggestions and recommendations to people. But I figured, just letting you hear it is going to be the best way for you guys to interpret how you can utilize that information, and whether or not you've gotten your first wall or whether or not you need new ideas on how to get other walls. Maybe that'll answer some questions for you here in this one. But without further ado, basically I painted my first wall in downtown Phoenix on the corner of 3rd Street and Roosevelt. I finished it May 20th of 2013. And it was on a building called Palettes, which was a Vietnamese fusion restaurant. So they did things like pho, they had sushi, they did a lot of spring rolls, there was a lot of banh mi sandwiches. It was this really cool spot, and it took over this abandoned corner. So when I first came to downtown Phoenix to do First Friday, that corner was vacant. It was a place called like Canvas Art Lounge or Canvas Art Collective, but I remember this really old sun-bleached sign that sat there, and it was gated off for years because of, they didn't want anybody breaking into the building. So I remember finally one day the gates were just down, and then all of a sudden, the sign was down, new paint was up, contractors were there, the place had life, and there were 3 restaurants that went in there. So there was a French patisserie, there was a Mexican food restaurant called Paz, and then there was this Vietnamese fusion restaurant. So I kept my eye on it, and slowly but surely it came together, and then there were these little accent walls leading up to it. It was this whole kind of mini corner pavilion, nice spot, trees, seating, very nice. And then these small accent walls all of a sudden were painted, and I had never painted a wall. I was only doing canvas work in coffee shops and things like that, some gallery work, but I saw these walls and they were maybe 2 feet by 6 feet, maybe a little bit smaller than that, but I thought that that's something I could do. And so I talked to the manager of, the property, talked to somebody, and they directed me to who was in charge of the project. And they instructed me, or they informed me, that unfortunately that project was over with, and sorry. So I went to the Vietnamese restaurant because they had built a fresh wall in addition to this canvas place, and they did it to house the kitchen. So it was just a small add-on, but basically this wall was approximately 20 feet wide and 13 feet high, if I remember correctly. And if the grout was still wet. I mean, this was a fresh wall, and I went in and I talked to the owner of the restaurant, and I said, hey, I went and I asked about these small walls out here, and the person told me that the project was over with, but I noticed that you have a wall here and it could use a fresh coat of paint. Would you be interested in me painting a mural? And she said, bring me a sketch. And so okay, cool. And before I knew it, I was just on my way home, like, what are we, like, holy crap, what did I just do, right? And I'd never painted anything on that scale. I had no idea what to do, but I started thinking about it, and I was really into like Cthulhu at the time and sushi, and I don't remember, but I figured Asian restaurant fusion, and so I came up with this idea for this sea monster sushi chef, and I wish I had the original sketch to show you guys, but I believe she kept it. I think I gave it to her and she kept it, so I wasn't able to find it. And believe me, I scoured for all these photos that are coming up. I scoured for these, like, I had to go to Foursquare and Yelp and some of these other places to find this, any of these photos. It was not easy to find, track down some of this info from 2013. In downtown Phoenix, where nobody was paying any attention to anything in downtown Phoenix before 2013. It just wasn't there. But so she accepted the sketch, and I got to work. She gave me $800, so that was basically what she could give me for materials, and I think I spent most, if not all of that, on materials for this wall. And I set a date. I think the first day I started working was a Friday night during First Friday, which is a huge downtown festival. All the galleries open up, street fair, big thing. And that was a big mistake, number one. It was way too busy to try and paint. People were coming up and asking if they could help. I came out there with 1 gallon of paint and like a roller for a wall that was 20 feet wide and 13 feet high. I had no idea what I was doing, like literally no idea what I was doing. I just went for it. So it was a crazy start. It took about 2 weeks, maybe a little longer, to paint this wall, and I was really into neon colors. I didn't use any spray paint on the first wall. I didn't know about spray paint, so it was all just liquid acrylic paint or paint that I got from Michael's. It was a disaster, and it took a really long time. So, I put a lot of extra effort and a lot of overworking. I definitely overworked this mural, but it got done, and I was really proud, and it was a nice achievement. And I only wanted to do one mural. Anyways, it all started out as trying to get something small that was a little different but close to the same size of what I was normally painting, 2 foot by 5 foot, 6 foot, whatever. Like, that wasn't very far from what I was painting on canvas. And it turned into this huge wall, which turned into a much bigger project, and I learned so much of what not to do. And I struggled through it, but I got it done. And then it was up for 2 years, and I had to go back and refresh it. And luckily I lived in the neighborhood. I was close enough to go back and, give it touch-ups and things like that. And before too long, that complex got taken over by one of those restaurants. So Paz, the Mexican food restaurant, ended up taking over the entire complex. It became the Paz restaurant complex. And I found out that they were going to, get some new artists and change some things. So I didn't wait. I immediately went back to the complex. I talked to the manager and owner of Paz, and I told him, I said, hey, I painted that over there. I would love to do something again, right? Like, please don't take that wall from me, because it was a really good wall in downtown. And he told me the same thing. He says, bring me a sketch. So I went, and I had 2 years more of experience under my belt, and I brought this guy a much better sketch that definitely spoke to the vibe of the taco shop and to downtown. It became an iconic mural for quite a while, and it stayed up for a long time. But essentially what it boils down to was I was very excited about seeing artwork in public, and I unabashedly went and tried to find out who was in charge of making those decisions and asking if I could be a part of it. So shameless self-promotion, I guess. And when I got turned down the first time, I didn't take that for an answer. And because there were multiple people involved at that property, I had other avenues to go, which I did. And I made something work. I turned nothing into something. But Again, it was a difficult job, and I didn't know that it was going to become what it has become for me today. I just thought it would be really great to cross something off my bucket list, which was paint a mural. And now I use predominantly spray paint, and there's a whole slew of other things that I do differently. And I mean, I can only imagine if I had the opportunity to paint this mural again today. But regardless, it was just it was a great opportunity to be a part of. I'm very grateful for the people who opened that door and gave me a chance to fall in love with something. But it was also really, really hard. It took a lot of work, and it continues to take a lot of work today. But essentially, that's how I got my first job. Is I asked to be a part of something that was going on in downtown, and I wasn't going to take no for an answer. I was going to leave my mark, and I did it in a professional enough way that I didn't come off as a jerk. I didn't rub anybody the wrong way, and ended up getting to create a really colorful, vibrant piece that was part of the initial spark of what downtown Phoenix has become today. So it was really, really exciting. And I actually had a client reach out with a photo of that mural. So she had actually taken a photo of it during the time in between when I was restoring it. So some of the sun had bleached it out, and it looked a little rough for a little while, and then I went in and fixed it. But this client was downtown. She took a photo of it. She saved it in her phone. I actually talked about it in the video where I paint her little casita, and I showed you guys the text message, but that came from my first mural, right? And she spoke to me 10 years later, and where I'm at now, or 10 years later, is light years difference. It's insane. So you just never know what mark that first mural or that project that you go after that you didn't think you were going to get is going to make on your life or your career later on down the road. And all walls that you get to do are important, but some stand out more than others. And this was just a really crazy project that I was really happy to bring to life, and it got me really far later on. And I guess just not being afraid to go out there and get it was really the thing that stands out about this project. And would I do things differently today? Absolutely. But overall, my color scheme is not too different from today. I am still using those blues and greens and pinks and purples. I'm still doing big eyes. I'm still doing bold outlines, and I'm still doing a lot of really fun characters that really exude and evoke happiness. So overall, as far as where how far I've come as an artist, I've come really far. But at the same time, I'm still pretty close to home. So anyways, guys, that's a story of how I got my first mural. I'd love to hear about how you guys got your first projects, or what challenges have arisen while you're trying to get your first project. But if you are trying to get that first one, for the resume or for whatever it is, figure out how to make it happen. It's probably not going to be a co-op restaurant that springs up on your corner out of nowhere from an abandoned building. But there's a wall out there that's waiting for you, and I know that you can get it. So go get it. And thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comment section down below. You can always follow me on Instagram at Mr. Downtown Phoenix. I'm also on TikTok now. And you can scope out my website, shinethroughart.com. You can see my merch and what I've got available for sale, or inquire about a mural. And until next time, I will see you guys. But thanks, and I'll catch you at the next session.